Week 7, Tuesday. A reading from the homilies of Saint Gregory of Nyssa on the book of Ecclesiastes. There is a time to be born and a time to die. There is a time to be born and a time to die, says the author. He has put down well at the beginning of his words these two related necessities, joining death with birth. For death follows inevitably on birth, and every birth is brought to the dissolution of death. There is a time to be born and a time to die, he says. Oh, that it may be granted to me to have a timely birth and an opportune death. No one can say that the preacher shows this birth which is involuntary, or this death which comes of its own accord, as though there is therein the good action of a virtue. For birth does not happen because of a woman's act of will, nor does the event of death lie within the free will of the dying. No one can define as virtue or vice that which does not lie within our own power. We must therefore consider what is a seasonable birth and what is a timely death. I think that a birth is full-termed and not premature when, as Isaiah says, a man brings to birth by the birth pangs of his soul his own salvation after he has conceived it by the fear of God. We are ourselves, in a certain sense, fathers of ourselves when by our good intention and our own free choice we conceive and give birth to ourselves and bring ourselves to the light. This we do as a result of receiving God into ourselves when we have been made children of God, children of the power, children of the Most High. On the other hand, we also turn ourselves into an abortion and make ourselves imperfect and sickly when there has not been produced in us, in the Apostles' words, the form of Christ. But the man of God must be whole and perfect. If then it is clear how we are born in timely fashion, so also it is clear how we die in timely fashion, as every time was for St. Paul the right time for a good death. He proclaims this in his own writings, confirming it as it were by an oath, when he says, I die daily by your boasting, and elsewhere on your behalf we are afflicted by death every day, and we ourselves have the sentence of death in ourselves. Indeed, it is not in any way obscure how Paul dies every day, who never lives to sin, who mortifies continually the limbs of his flesh, and bears about in his body the dying of the body of Christ, who is always being crucified with Christ, who never lives to himself, but as Christ living within himself, that in my judgment would be a timely death which has produced true life. For God says, I shall kill and I shall make alive, which proves that to die to sin and to be made alive to the Spirit is truly the gift of God.